Hey guys, how are you doing today? I hope you're doing great. See, I love to go into nature, and one thing about nature that I love so much is that it's very easy to get, connected with maybe our inner nature when we are in nature itself. And one thing that for me always happens when I go into nature is I'm just naturally getting pulled into a state of gratitude. And I think to be in a state of gratitude is very, very powerful. And so I want to encourage you to try this out, because I think it's one of the most powerful ways to grow and to be. And if you start observing around you, the things, the beauty in nature and in everything really, there's so much in our lives that you can be grateful for. Even just, like a meal and little things that we just take for granted. And if we start to appreciate them, then, the other things in life, they also tend to fall into place much more. Because when we are in a state of gratitude, then naturally we're also able to connect better with others. And we experience less stress. And, when you're more at ease and more joyful, then naturally we tend to be more productive. So in every area of our lives, it becomes like a positive, a very strong, powerful force. And you can actually practice this continuously throughout the day, but if at least once in the morning and once in the evening you try to just take a moment and really remind yourself of things that you can be grateful for, and just try to carry that state into your day-to-day life, especially in the morning after waking up, and then in the evening sometime. I think it can completely transform our life, and it's not always easy to do that, especially when we are in situations, where it seems that we are like struggling a lot, and there are challenges. Maybe you have financial challenges, maybe you have health challenges, maybe you have relationship challenges, and they can seem very, very big in that moment. And I know that. I've had them all, and I still have them. But I think, we always will have these challenges. And it would be an illusion if we think, oh, if I just didn't have that one challenge, everything would be good. It's our brain tends to make us think that way. That we think, oh, my life is right now so bad because it's because of that situation or that situation. But I think the truth is that it's never about the situation. Every person in the world faces challenging situations. And there's this very, very powerful book by an Austrian called Viktor Frankl. His book is called In Search of Meaning. And Viktor Frankl was a Jew with Austrian origin, and through the Nazi time, when the Nazis were really like killing the Jews in Nazi Germany, he ended up in one of the concentration camps, and his whole family got killed, and he got put into the worst situations ever. And so many people at that time in the concentration camps, they died. He was one of the few who actually survived it, and later he reflected on his life, and in his book In Search of Meaning, he's sharing like how, even in the worst situations imaginable, and most of us are really fortunate if you look at it. I don't know where you live. Actually, I would love to know where you're watching this. Maybe you can drop a comment where you're from. I'm really curious. Please leave a comment. But no matter where you are, if you're watching this, chances are that you are more fortunate than most people in the world, because at least it means you have access to internet, you have a phone, maybe a laptop. And that means most probably you have access to clean water and food, which makes you already very fortunate. So if you are like not familiar about Nazi Germany and the concentration camps, and if you're looking for an inspiring story, I can definitely recommend that one to you. In Search of Meaning. It's a little book, and it's so amazing to see how he was put into the worst situation ever. Like, the situations in the concentration camp, they didn't have food, they didn't have proper clothing, they had to work outside even in the coldest winter. They had barely sleep, and they were like, tortured and beaten all the time. They had their families killed, and they've been put through all of this. And a lot of them, they actually died in those situations. Many people died not because they actually were killed, but because they weren't able to, survive. They kind of mentally, like that's what he shares, those people who lost purpose, they were the ones who died first. And those who still kept on to some purpose, and they still had, hope in life, and they were still able to experience meaning, those are the ones who survived. And he said that no matter what the situations, you can always find some meaning in it, and you can always use it for your growth. And I think that story is just such a powerful example of, that we're not really victims of our circumstances. And to practice or to be in a state of gratitude, I think is something that we all can do. And we should never think that our circumstances are, determining the quality of our life, of our experience of life. Because there's always something that we can be grateful for, and if we focus on that, that will also tend to grow in our life, and will bring more of that. And if you're in a moment where you're completely stressed and you feel like, you have financial challenges or love challenge or health challenge, and you still take that moment to look for what you can be grateful, maybe just the fact that you have food, that you have a roof over your top, a roof over your head, and maybe you're healthy, maybe you have a partner, there's so many things we can be grateful for. And I want to really encourage you to try this and to try to bring more of that into your day-to-day life. So guys, I hope you liked this video, you enjoyed it. Please leave a thumbs up if you do. And drop a comment below, really. I want to know where you're from. And I see you next week, guys. Bye.